everybody, it's Margaret. Today I wanted to talk about a family check-in. A family check-in is something that I do with my family, especially when they were younger. Found out about this from a family therapist about 10 years ago. And a family check-in is from the work of, it's called the temperature check or the family temperature check. It was actually founded by a family therapist, and it consists of 5 stages. And I learned that with my daughter, and it was a one-on-one dialogue that we did with a therapist that I found so helpful, and so grateful for this work. And then I took it home and continued to work with it with my family, but I also brought in the talking stick. So we did this as a family together in a circle with a talking stick around the dinner table. And I found this family check-in that we call in my house just beautiful. And it really taught me so much about my children, and was able to build stronger bonds, stronger and deeper communications, and build these beautiful connections. So there are 5 stages of this temperature check and the talking stick. So the talking stick I brought in from the women's circles and the shamanism work that I was doing. And I love that work because when the person is holding the stick, whatever the object is, it could be a bottle of ketchup or a pepper shaker that we've used in the past, or some kind of object. It just shows everyone that this person has the room. So it's nice to know that you're not going to be interrupted, to have this space where you're not going to be interrupted. So all the cell phones are off and you have enough time. If you do a one-on-one family, a one-on-one check-in with each other, it takes about 3 minutes, but you need longer periods of time if you're going to be doing it with the whole family, which I kind of created myself. So the rules of a talking stick: whoever has a talking stick, that they're the ones that have the floor, and everyone else just has to witness that person with an open heart. So you begin to listen with your heart. There is no judging and criticizing. I talked about this in many videos. And there's no laughing. So children have to really begin to learn with their body, their brain, their whole soul, how to hold space for one another without judging them. And this is where they're starting to learn compassion for one another in their own home with their parents and with their siblings. So we have to learn how to listen, and we really don't know how to listen very well in our culture. But this way of practicing will allow the children to really begin to learn how to listen without reacting or giving advice, which is very beautiful. We learn how to hold space for each other, and whoever has the talking stick has the turn to talk. And we also give permission that they might not want to talk. They might not want to hold the stick or the object and share, or they might just want to share a few things. So they also have the right to pass. But by being in that space and hearing other people talk and be vulnerable, it also allows them to help process through whatever they're working through, and hopefully can communicate the next time. And there's no shame around if that person doesn't want to share at that time. So those are the rules of the talking stick. The check-in part, or the temperature check-in, is from a pioneer family therapist called Virginia Sutier I. You can find these on Google. These 5 steps I was taught by a family therapist over 12 years ago. But if you Google it, you'll have some will have 3 steps, some will have 7 steps. There's all different variations around it. So you can kind of create it yourself. You can use the 5 steps that I'm giving you today. And you can use this as a base. I've used this as a base. And again, I brought in the talking stick, and then sometimes we'll forget what they are. We'll kind of variate it so that we can all share, and it'll kind of take on a life of its own, but I just use this as a foundation. So again, you can find it anywhere, and one-on-one, so either parent-child or 2 adults. I've used it with my husband. It takes about 3 minutes one-on-one, but then as a family, it takes a little bit longer. And the 5 steps of the temperature check-in, the first step is appreciation. Second step is new information. The third step is complaints. The fourth step is request for support. And the fifth steps is hopes, wishes, and dreams. So the first step is they'll have the talking stick is about appreciation, and we can go around and they can actually say what they appreciate about everybody else, or vice versa. So kind of create your own. But if you were doing a one-on-one, it would be like what I appreciate about you. So it could be simple as I appreciated you helping me bring the groceries in from the car. Or appreciate your text that you sent me the other day. It meant a lot for me. I was having a really hard day, and that really made me feel good. So just simple things like that can really be monumental, that we don't really always share. Or if we share, we're probably distracted, either on the phone or making breakfast or just being, in life. So when you're on one-on-one and you're actually saying this with a whole open heart and the person is receiving it, it is very, very powerful. Second is new information, big or small, just new information that you haven't really shared with anybody. Again, very, very powerful. It allows you to get into a vulnerable space, allows people to witness you and to really hold that in a loving space. Third, and we'll go back to the second, the new information, you can find a lot of information from your children and vice versa. Very, very powerful. Third, complaints. What's on your mind? What's your struggling? What are your challenges? And the first time that I did this with my daughter, she was just a little one. I held the space, we were doing a dialogue, and she went on to complaining about me. And that was a hard pill to swallow without reacting, trying to fix everything or change it, and really having to see where there was improvement for me and our relationship. So it could be struggles with schools, with, relationships, with jobs, and also could be complaints about you. So just be able to hold that space without filtering your shit through it. So it takes a lot of work, but it with this work can really bring beautiful, beautiful, healthy relationships. The fourth is the request for support. So they ask what they need from you. So in that first time that we did it together, she asked what she needed from me, and she needed me to listen. And that was a hard pill to swallow. And so just really knowing that really transformed how I was parenting. And I felt like I was really in some kind of vortex where that was just coming all around me, where I really had to switch on how I was parenting my children, especially as they were going into those tween years. And the fifth one is hope, wishes, and dreams. And it's just things that you're hopeful for, that you're wishing to come true, that you're looking forward to. And this is really beautiful to hear what they are wishing for themselves and to be heard about your wishes for yourself. So it really creates this beautiful bond and an openness. Again, we are so distracted so many times by just living in our world. In a lot of us living in survival mode or stress, and where we're not always present and we're thinking about the past or the future, and we are just trying to survive, and you can miss all these subtleties of information that our children are trying to tell us, either through their body language or through words, that we're really not picking up. And so this will allow that time to be set, that sacred space to be created, and that talking stick to be witnessed and to be heard. And I can really create such beautiful, beautiful relationships. Again, this is free. I think that if we lived in healthy communities with healthy relationships, this would be passed down, and we would be witnessing the elders doing it, and we would be doing it as young mothers and to our children, and then it would just be passed down generation to generation in some kind of form. But now we live mostly, like I said, in reactive mode through our wounding, in survival mode, and we miss a lot of these subtleties. And And if we don't, and it would also teach us not only to communicate better, but to find compassion so deeply for one another. And if we wanting compassion to see, we want to see it in the world, it has to come from within. And if we're not building it within our families, how are we going to see it into the world? And so when you're building compassion and safety for your family, you'll be able to start seeing it in the world. And right now we see a lot of mental health issues. The children don't feel safe. The world is just going chaos. And if they don't feel safe in their own homes with their own parents, how are they supposed to feel safe in this big, big world? And I think we're all starting to see it just blow up right in front of our face, where our children, they need to be heard right in their family units where they feel the most love and the most safety. So this is just one way. So this is not anything new. I just think that I had to look for it, and because I wanted something different from when I was being raised as a child in the 70s and 80s, where, you know, the children were not heard. There was a lot of yelling and a lot of reacting, and that led to a lot of depression and a lot of survival modes and addictions, where I wanted something different for my children, and I can understand and I can see the beauty in it now. And it was healing for me on so many ways, where I could overcome myself and be vulnerable. So I feel that there's really an opportunity here to go really deep with your family, and that it can continue for years. Now, we don't do it very often as we did when they were young. They're 25 and 22, but we can do it on Zoom, where we can all connect and just get familiar and have those deeper conversations. And it's very, very special. We also have brought in my son's girlfriend doing this, and that's very magical because we get to learn about her in a new and intimate way, and she also gets to learn about us too. So you never know how this is going to radiate. And also another thing, my daughter, when she was in high school, was having some challenges with relationships and friends, and went to a sleepover. And she came back the next day that she went into the toy box and got like a Barbie microphone, and she used it as her talking stick. And she taught the girls how to use it. And they went around all that night and was sharing, sharing about what was happening in the relationships. And they were able to bond on a much deeper way. So you just don't know. This stuff is very powerful. It really teaches us how to listen to each other and have compassion for one another, and really receive the support and the help that we need and that we deserve, and that as parents that we want to be able to do, but sometimes aren't able to listen or communicate with our children. So again, there's a lot of support on the internet about this. Again, it's called the Family Temperature Check-In, and it's part of the family therapy practices that I learned along the way. I hope this helps you, and that you're all thriving, and this can help someone or some families that are dealing with some mental health issues out there. And if so, please share them, share this video with them. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Mwah.